Evcol. Trifles.
Harry and I started to town with a load of potatoes. We came along the road from my place, and as I got here I said, I'm going to see if I can't get John Wright to go in with me on a party telephone. I spoke to Wright about it once before, and he put me off, saying folks talk too much anyway, and all he asked was peace and quiet. I guess you know about how much he talked himself, but I thought maybe if I went to the house and talked about it before his wife, though I said to Harry that I didn't know as what his wife wanted made much difference to John. I didn't hear or see anything. I knocked at the door, and still it was all quiet inside. I knew they must be up. It was past 8 o'clock, so I knocked again, and I thought I heard somebody say, "Come in." I wasn't sure. I'm not sure yet. But I opened the door, this door, and there, in that rocker, sat Mrs. Wright. She was rocking back and forth. She had her apron in her hand and was kind of pleating it. She looked queer, as if she didn't know what she was gonna do next, and kind of done up. I said, "How do, Mrs. Wright? It's cold, ain't it?" And she said, "Is it?" And went on, kind of pleating at her apron. Well, I was surprised. She didn't ask me to come up to the stove or to sit down, but just sat there, not even looking at me. So I said, "I want to see John." And she laughed. I guess you would call it a laugh. I thought of Harry and the team outside, so I said a little sharp, "Can't I see John?" "No," she says, kind of dull-like. "Ain't he home?" says I. "Yes," says she, "he's home." "Then why can't I see him?" I asked her, out of patience. "'Cause he's dead," says she. "Dead?" says I. She just nodded her head, not getting a bit excited, but rocking back and forth. "Why, where is he?" says I, not knowing what to say. She just pointed upstairs, like that. I got up with the idea of going up there. I walked from there to here. Then I says, "Why, what did he die of?" "He died of a rope around his neck," says she, and just went on pleating at her apron. Well, I went out and called Harry. I thought I might need help. We went upstairs and there he was, lying. Well, my first thought was to get that rope off. It looked... But Harry, he went up to him and he said, "No, he's dead all right, and we better not touch anything." So we went back downstairs. She was still sitting that same way. "Has anybody been notified?" I asked. "No," says she, unconcerned. "Who did this, Mrs. Wright?" said Harry. She said it businesslike, and she stopped pleating at her apron. "I don't know," she says. "You don't know?" says Harry. "No," she says. "Weren't you sleeping in the bed with him?" says Harry. "Yes," says she, "but I was on the inside." "Somebody slipped a rope round his neck and strangled him, and you didn't wake up?" says Harry. "I didn't wake up," she said after him. We must have looked as if we didn't see how that could be, for after a minute she said, "I sleep sound." Harry was going to ask her more questions, but I said maybe we ought to let her tell her story first to the coroner or the sheriff. So Harry went fast as he could to River's place, where there's a telephone. She moved from that chair to this one over here, and just sat there with her hands held together and looking down. I got a feeling that I ought to make some conversation, so I said I had come in to see if John wanted to put in a telephone. And at that, she started to laugh. And then she stopped and looked at me. Scared. I don't know, maybe it wasn't scared. I wouldn't like to say it was. Soon Harry got back, and then Dr. Lloyd came, and you, Mr. Peters, and so I guess that's all I know that you don't.
This was an Evcol Entertainment production, a part of the Masquerade series of monologues, featuring the voice talent of Dominic Quinn. Written by Susan Glaspell. Directed and produced by Simon James Collier. Soundscape Design by Archie Lyon-Maris.